has a sightline to China.
No, it's just a different sightline.
Okay. Oh no, yeah, the sightline's over there. Never mind. Like if
Yeah.
you, yeah, okay, I got it.
Those are really the only. I guess people call this house. It looks like a house. So if someone said, I mean, then the rest of the callouts are just like logical from there. Like behind house is
Yeah,
this area because it's
like that's why
behind
I said
house.
cliff,
Right,
because like
right.
cliff makes sense.
Like
Like
base cliff is this because this is the bottom of the cliff.
cliff, or you
This is
say
cliff.
cliff ramp. Like
I don't think I've ever heard someone say that. Most people say base, bottom of cliff. I don't. It doesn't really matter that much as long as the call out makes sense to people. But the
yeah,
main ones are
I
just like
mean,
main. Oh, and I guess like specifically this is called porch because sometimes snipers will stand here, but this area is technically called valley. It's like valley, and then porch is specifically this little spot.
yeah, okay, sure. So
So
like porch and
the
valley
main
are
the
two different
biggest
things, but they're very close.
the most
And then
important
there's rock
callouts
and
are
connector.
valley, main, cliff, and china are like the four callouts you need to know. If you don't know those callouts, you will be completely lost.
Yeah, there's also there's like a main sniper spots.
Yeah, those are like the
Like
two sniper spots and the two places where
sniper
you
goes like
can.
porch or China, and then sometimes cliff.
Yeah.
I
Um,
would go valley because that's a little bit too open for main.
I'm gonna. So I want to. I'm like doing like an experimental teaching method this season where I'm gonna focus super hard on fundamentals and less so on map specifics because I think learning fundamentals is way more important, especially as a newer player. Um, and so what I mean by that, I guess I'll like start like the actual map for you now. Um, so all of the game modes um, in Highlander are time-based objectives. So on Koth, the point has a timer on it. On Payload, the cart has a timer on it. All of these things are impacted by you're always on a clock basically. And all of the game modes can be split up into either attacking or defending. Um, and so payload and steal, it's very obvious because one team is explicitly attacking, the other team is explicitly defending. But on Koth, the team that owns the point is defending, and the team that doesn't own the point is attacking or pushing. And that's the way I want you guys to think about Koth. Is basically if you own the point, your only objective is to waste time. That's all you need to do is make the other team waste as much time as possible because the more time that you waste or the more time that you make the other team waste, the more you win. Um, you don't need to you don't need to kill their whole team. You don't need to really like there's nothing specific you need to do other than just waste time. So as long as you have the point, you are winning the game. Nothing else matters as long as you have the point. If the other team has the point, your only objective is to cap it. I know it sounds extremely simple, but that is the job of your team as the attacking team is cap. That's all you have to do. So I want those two things to be in your mind every time you play Koth. Above all else, your goal, if you own the point, is maintain control of it. So waste time, don't let the other team cap. And if you don't have the point, your only goal is to cap the point. Um, there are a few exceptions to this. Capping the point but losing your entire team in the process is not a good trade. So if 8 people die and your engineer caps, that's not a good trade because you just lost all your Uber and your whole team is dead. So the other team's just going to come back and recap. But losing players to cap the point is usually okay. Just the main thing is when the other team has the point, you need to cap it. So if you're playing payload and you're pushing last and there's 30 seconds on the clock, everyone gets this kind of extreme sense of urgency where it's like, okay, it's like a pub push where everyone's like, okay, we need to push the cart or we're going to lose the game. And that sense of urgency is what I want you guys to have every time the other team has the point. Even if there's 3 minutes on the clock, even if you just lost the mid fight and you just wiped, that should be your sense of urgency is every second that we spend not pushing the point and not capping is a second that we are losing. And it sounds, I know it's like a weird combination of simple and stupid. And it's like, okay, well, obviously, if we don't have the point, we're losing. But a lot of people really struggle to grasp that concept. So I'm just trying to make sure that everyone like understands it because it's super important. Um, and then the way you like go about doing all of that stuff is obviously different map to map. But that's like the most important thing I always want everyone to think about. If you have the point, it doesn't matter if you die, it doesn't matter if you get 50 bajillion kills. What you do doesn't matter. The specifics of what you're doing doesn't matter as long as you are wasting time. And if the other team has the point, it doesn't matter if you're getting kills or dying or not getting kills, or whatever. The specifics of what you're doing don't matter as long as you are getting your team closer to capping the point. Yeah, so I want that to be the preface of everything to talk about. Yeah. So, okay, now that I've talked about that, I'll talk about mid fights because mid fights are the one exception to this because neither team has the point. So neither of you are attacking or defending. You're basically just playing sixes with a bunch of extra classes. So mid fights are, believe it or not, one of the most important parts of the game. If you cap mid, you almost always get a full minute off the clock, basically for free. So winning the mid fight is extremely important. That's the timing is plus or minus like 30 seconds, depending on how good or bad the other teams are. But winning mid is really important. The most consistent way to win mid is to walk 9 players at the other team at the same time. So there are 2 classes or 3 classes in this game that require some sort of build up or wind up or whatever to commit to the other team. And those classes are your your heavy, your spy, and your soldier. Those 3 classes are what call the aggression on mid. Your soldier has to reload and get healthy and then bomb. Your heavy has to rev up to get ready to push, and your spy has to get behind the other team. All of those things need to happen before you guys can commit 9 players. If you try to walk across the point too early and your soldier's not ready to bomb and your spy's not behind and your heavy's not ready to rev and push, you're going to be fighting 6v9 because you are walking forward. So the other team's heavy and soldier don't have to push forward. They're just sitting here waiting for you guys to come in, and then you take a 6v9 fight and you lose. So making sure that all 9 people are coordinating at the same time is extremely important. Generally, any of the classes that I called or your main caller, which is usually your demo, can call the aggression on mid, as long as you have the same person doing it every time and the person calling the aggression is confident in their calling. So you can have your spy getting ready to go for a stab, and your spy will say, I'm decloaking, everyone commit in 2 seconds. And then your soldier hears that and reloads a rocket or 2 and then goes and bombs. Your heavy jumps off and walks across the point, and your whole team commits together. So making sure that you guys are committing at the same time and making sure that you have one clear call as to when your team is committing is the most important thing to having consistent mids. That being said, the easiest way to make sure that these calls are being heard is to, one, make sure that everyone can hear the person who's calling it and everyone knows who's going to be calling it. So you decide beforehand, okay, our spy is really vocal and our spy is very active with their decloak calls, so we're going to have our spy call the mid aggression. And so everyone on the team put your spy at 150% volume, and people try their best to not clutter comms at the start of mid, and everyone just listens for their spy to say, I'm decloaking, commit in 2. And you guys all walk at the same time. Or it can be your soldier, your heavy, whoever, your demo. It doesn't matter who does it as long as it's the same person every time and everyone is listening for that call. And until that call gets made, nobody takes any serious fights. Nobody unloads all their damage. People just get ready for that call. And then you commit 9 across the point. That is the mid fight I want you guys to practice. The specifics of which are somewhat up to your team. Most of the time, your soldier either goes cliff and your heavy goes cliff, so they kind of go together, or they both go concrete. Either one of those options is fine. Whichever side your heavy goes, your demo is going to walk the opposite direction for the most part. So if your heavy is going cliff, he's going to jump around this corner and rev and walk across dog bread. And if your heavy is going on that side, your demo is going to walk the opposite way so that you have there's 2 sides that the other team has to look at on the mid fight. And then obviously it's just the opposite if you're on the other team. So your heavy goes cliff, he walks forward, and your demo walks across the other side. Walking the same side is fine if the sniper is watching that. If the sniper is watching the other angle. So if their sniper is China, regardless of what side your heavy is, your demo's almost always going to walk right side, so he's not walking into a sniper sight line. And if the sniper's on a cliff, your demo's almost always going to walk dog bread side, so he's not walking into a sniper sight line. But again, the specifics of that are not nearly as important as making sure that you guys are committing at the same time, and that there's one explicit call as to when that commit is happening, and everyone, all 9 players on the team, are just listening for that. That's the most important thing about the mid fight, is committing 9 people at the same time. Like, seriously, if you guys get in the habit of doing that, regardless of your DM level, regardless of your brains, you will beat teams like a div or two above you in mid fights if you can get that down. Like, if you're an amateur team, you will beat like bottom main teams on mid fights if you can get that coordination down. It doesn't matter how good your aim is or anything. If you have 9 people shooting at them and they have 5 people paying attention, you are always going to win that fight. So, yeah. Like I said, it doesn't matter who calls it. Pick one person on your team who's going to call the aggression. Everyone gets ready. You make sure everyone's ready, and then you go in at the same time. So that's the mid fight. The rest of or the other specifics that can really change on mids. If you notice that the other team is shoving one side of your point really hard, like if they're pushing 4 people through connector, like their soldier is whipping their heavy through and their pyro and scout are all flooding through connector, you have 2 options. Either you meet them with your whole combo, or you ignore them and go forward. So if they're shoving connector really hard, just as an example, you either meet them with your entire combo and your sniper hard scopes it and you stuff the door and just kill everyone, or you guys walk the opposite side of the point. And the same thing goes for if their combo's aggressive. Like if they have like a 6-man combo, like medic, demo, pyro, NG, scout, heavy, all in the combo, and they're walking on one side of the point, either you meet them with 9 players or you go the other side. So it's just like, I mean, again, this is kind of like less important, but yeah, main thing, I know I've said it 6 times already, but have one person calling when you guys are committing and everyone listens for the call and you guys walk together. I would say for your first mid, you should just put your heavy and soldier cliff, and then your soldier does a bomb like this and then just commits on the other team. And your demo walks one side, your heavy walks the other, and everyone else walks on the point. So like, the only person who maybe shouldn't be on the point is your pyro, who can just be sitting with your medic and demo and reflecting spam and checking for spy. But like NG, scout should both be on the point. Your spy should be decloaking. Your sniper should be aggressive. Everyone should be on the point basically. And I mean, obviously, medic doesn't want to be sniper sidelines, but that's kind of it. All right. Any questions about the mid fights? I know I'm being somewhat vague about them. That's intentional. I mainly want you to focus on getting the timing down before you worry about the specifics of where, like, do I need to stand on China or do I need to stand on ports? Like, it doesn't really matter. The coordination and the aggression timing is the main thing. That being said, are there any questions?
No, yeah, I think that.
I think that was pretty clear.
Yeah, I do have one thing I was gonna like. Suppose that the other team, like aggresses faster than your team aggresses, like before you're able to make the call. So what do you suppose is the plan of action then?
I mean, if they're going faster than your team, it's the only way that that's actually possible if they're committing 9 people faster than you is if they're rolling out faster than you. Either that or they are setting up their aggression faster. Like, everyone spawns the same on every map. Like, the spawns are mirrored, so there's no, like, they can't be faster than your team just inherently. That's impossible. So if they're aggressing faster than you, it's probably because you guys are spending 5 seconds sitting behind rock getting buffs before you bomb, and they're spending 2 seconds. So if you notice that happening, you just want to make sure that people are trying to go as fast as possible. Or maybe, you might not be able to wait for your spy to get behind them before you go for the aggression. You might just have to bomb early and your spy will decloak like halfway through the fight,
Okay, so
which is
then,
fine.
yeah, so I guess I was more so gonna ask like, if they aggress faster than you do, like what do you do then? Do you find a time to retreat or do you just try and aggress
No,
into them?
I w- there are ways to do it. There are like mediocre ways to play passive mids, but I don't want you guys to try and practice those. And I guarantee that no team in existence has ever done a passive mid and then a passive hold on product and won a match. It just doesn't work. So there are ways to mitigate that. So how do I phrase this? If the other team is faster and more aggressive and more coordinated than you, there are ways to mitigate your losses, but the mitigation that you use is never going to make you win the game. The way you win Koth is by being faster and being more aggressive and being more coordinated than the other team. And so if they are doing that better than you, then that comes down to just individual decision making, and that's something that can be solved in like after scrims with personal demo reviews. It's not really something that you can kind of change mid fight. If you lose a mid fight because the other team just walked faster than you, the next mid fight you need to just try to walk faster. Like
Okay.
walk meaning when I say walk, I don't mean like press the sprint key. I mean like as a team you need to walk across the point sooner than they do. The only real thing I have to say about that is if you lose your medic, or so in a default mid fight, the main priorities to kill are like demo, scout, heavy. Those are like the big kills on mid that win you mid fights instantly. And sniper, obviously, but sniper is almost always impossible to kill. But if you lose your medic early, their medic becomes the only priority. So if you lose your medic on mid, doesn't matter what your medic dies to, your medic should just say, I died, go for their medic. Or your heals are dead, go for their medic. And all the other 8 people on your team should find the other team's medic and do like a really short, like, okay, we're committing in 2 seconds. And then you guys do the whole walk forward as a team, except instead of shooting anything important, you are only shooting the medic. And that's like, I can't stress how important it is that you only deal damage to the medic. Literally none of the other classes matter at all if your medic dies. So like if you're a scout on the point and there's a pyro and a demo and a heavy here, and there's a medic behind their team, if you do 10 damage to the medic, it's better than doing 300 damage to the heavy. So the medic, like if your medic dies on mid, you need to kill the other medic, or you just instantly lose a minute on the clock if you don't kill their medic. So yeah, that's the only real like weird thing that ever happens on mid.
Okay. Yeah,
Um,
that makes sense. Thank you.
mhm. So yeah, that's kind of mid fights. Team fights get set up the same way that mid fights do. So your demo is going to pick a side to walk, and your heavy is going to go the opposite side, usually accompanied by your soldier. Your scout stays with the combo. Your pyro stays with the combo. And you guys, so your spy should be able to get behind them and tell you where their sniper is. And that's really the only super technical aspect of team fights on this point, on this map, is where the enemy sniper is determines where your combo is going to push. So if their sniper is on rock, if he is standing up here, he can basically see everything except for like the very corner, like the inside corner of cliff. So if your sniper's on rock, the best way to deal with that is making sure that you have everyone, like you guys want to have one of those countdown things. So just like 3, 2, 1, everyone pressure sniper. And when that happens, literally 9 people on your team should be shooting the sniper at the same time. So like your scout is chipping him from across the map, your NG's chipping him from across the map, your heavy's chipping, your spy's decloaking on China or Cliff and just revolvering him. You want 9 people shooting the sniper at the same time, and I guarantee he will instantly drop off of rock and fuck off, and you guys will be able to peek. But that kind of rock is really the only place where you need to do that where it's really important, because the sniper can see everything from rock. So if your spy calls sniper on rock, you want your spy to get in a position to decloak and revolver. China is usually really good because there's never anyone playing here if the sniper's on rock. Cliff obviously is equally fine, but it's easier to get killed. And your spy says, I'm decloaking, pressure sniper, 3, 2, 1, and everyone shoots the sniper. And he'll drop off of rock, and once that happens, then your team can walk through whatever door you want. Most teams nowadays seem to be grouping up behind house, so they'll get, demo, scout, medic, and maybe soldier if he's getting a buff, or heavy behind house, and then you guys pick a side to walk. The side you walk is kind of irrelevant, but for the most part, it's dependent on where the other demo is, or where the other sniper is. If the sniper had just dropped off of rock, usually walking through main is a little safer. Just make sure there's no stickies here when your med commits. And then once you guys get to the point, you just treat it like a team fight. So you get your heavy and your soldier and your spy ready. You say 3, 2, 1, everyone commit, and 9 people walk on the point, and you just walk at them. the only real specifics about team fights, which I guess also kind of applies to mid fights, um, if you get that timed aggression down, if you get the 9 people go together at the same time, if you guys feel like you're doing that well, the next thing I would focus on is trying to get focus calls. So either your demo or heavy or scout, whoever's leading your combo, is going to call what they think is the most important target, and every member of the combo is going to shoot the same thing. Whether it's heavy or demo or pyro or scout or medic or whatever, it doesn't matter what class they're shooting. One person at a time makes that call, and you guys all shoot the same thing.
Okay, sorry. So as an
Mhm.
interjection, like I think you were probably just about to go over like fights involving Uber, seeing, but like I was gonna ask like some of the VODs I've watched, for Highlander on product, and when I used to play, like it seems like Ubering Scout is an actual viable option. Um, like, what do you think about that?
Yeah, on offensive Ubers, your scout is almost always involved.
Okay, all right, I like the sound of that.
Um, yeah, but yeah, for the biggest thing I really want you guys to focus on is like just timing your aggression together. Like literally, if I had the time to just sit in your comms and watch you guys play, all I would want to hear in the comms is your spy getting ready and saying, okay, 3, 2, 1, everyone walk. And all 9 players walk forward at the same time. And there's no damage calls, there's no kill calls, it's just that one comm walk. And everyone walks, and you guys literally instantly win the team fight. You don't need to call damage, you don't need to call kills. Everyone's just the fact that you have 9 people pushing at the same time is like that level of coordination is like advanced teams are still struggling to like meet that. So if you can get that, like I wouldn't worry about damage calls. Don't worry about calling if you broke the teleporter or shot the engineer. No one, it doesn't matter. Just the number one most important thing. Like if you guys fuck up a team fight or if you lose a mid fight, the first question you should be asking is, did somebody not aggress when the call was made? And even if it's someone who thinks they're irrelevant, if it's like your NG is like, oh, I was building my mini sentry. That's why you lost the team fight, because your NG wasn't pushing. It wasn't because you weren't shooting the same thing. It wasn't because whatever. That is the reason why you're losing, is because you don't have 9 people at the same time. I just want to I cannot stress it enough that pushing 9 people at the same time is the most important thing.
So, given this timing, should Spy run Cloak and Dagger, would you recommend, or stay on the Invis Watch?
I have no idea what the best items for spy are. Task would do a much better job at telling you that. All I will say is on mid fights, okay, the way I actually asked Task about this yesterday, the way he put it was at least rough paraphrasing. He can word it better himself. But if you are winning, if your team is winning a lot, the Cloak and Dagger is good because it lets you pick and choose more precisely when you want to go for picks. But for general use, it seems like the stock watch is better because if you guys are going even with the other team or if you're losing, the times in which you are going to be going for team fight, like you're going to be going for team fights and going for kills more often, if that makes sense. Like if you guys are losing the game,
okay.
your team needs to be doing stuff more because you're not sitting around waiting for their team to push, you're the team pushing. That's at least how he put it. But I mean, like I'm sure there are spy players who can give you a much more thorough breakdown of what watch to use in which situations.
Okay, understood. But thanks for the information nonetheless.
Uh-huh. I guess I'll talk about Ubers now. So there are basically 3 routes that you can take for exchanges. First, you never go concrete with Ubers. It's really far from the point. It's really exposed. You don't get to spam the other team's combo early, and you have to deal with their flank and their like you have to deal with their flank and their combo at the same time. Plus, you're in a huge sniper sideline. That's like the main reason why concrete is just atrocious. So concrete is like you just don't ever go that door. There are like some extreme rare exceptions, but for the most part, I don't want you guys worrying about concrete Ubers. 90% of the time when you're going for an offensive exchange, so you're pushing into the other team, I want you guys meeting up behind house. I want your spy to get a call on where the sniper is, and then you guys walk the opposite side of the sniper. So if the sniper is playing China, you guys are going to walk through main because the rock here blocks the sight line. So if you tried to go right side of house, you're walking right into a sniper sight line, which is why you don't want to go there. And if the sniper's on cliff, then you guys walk through valley, port side, so the side that's closer to Dogbread. Because if you had chosen to walk through main, once you peek this rock, you're in a sniper sight line. And if you're instead walking through valley and you come right side, you're not in a sniper sight line. The Ubers themselves, like the actual like 7 odd seconds of invulnerability, are not extremely important. Your main goals during the exchange are number 1, make the other team Uber. Number 2, no deaths. Those are your 2 main priorities. Until you get to the point where you are able to exchange into the other team, force them, and have no deaths, I don't want you to worry about anything else. Don't worry about kills, don't worry about damage, don't worry about whatever. Just force them and get the fuck out. So the way the exchanges usually flow, whatever side you're walking, pick a class to lead on. This is another like very important thing that will keep you guys from dropping people in the Uber and make your medic's life 100,000 times less stressful. Pick a class to lead on and lead every Uber on that same class. So it doesn't matter who you lead it on, just whichever class has more big dick energy will lead the Uber. I'm a big fan of leading on Scout because I like the Scout class. No particular reason. There are
I
strengths and benefits to
like
both.
the sound of that.
But it's just as long as you are leading on one class, so your medic knows, okay, I'm going to put my beam on one person, and when someone says Uber, I am making that person invincible. And your demo is not expecting to be invincible in front of your scout because your demo knows that you're leading the Uber on your scout. Or vice versa. Doesn't matter. Just whatever you decide on. If you want to lead on your scout, sounds like you do, just stick with that and practice that until you have it perfectly. So regardless of which side of the point you're walking to, doesn't really matter. Again, I want to go back to the idea of when you are pushing the point, I want your mentality to be there's 30 seconds left on the clock. We are pushing upward last. We need to fucking win the round or we lose grand finals. That's what should be in your minds. And so a lot of teams do this weird thing where they like push through main or through valley and they end up behind the rock. And then they just like sit here and they think it's a mid fight or something. And I don't really understand it because if it was a mid fight, it wouldn't matter that you're kind of AFK because you're not losing the round. But when you're taking an exchange into the other team, every single second that you waste without Ubering is a second that the other team gets on the clock. So you are actively doing what the other team wants you to do every second that you spend not Ubering into them. So I'll role play this in real live action as the scout class. Okay, so Ubers are even. This is like me main calling for my team. Ubers are even. Meet up behind house. Okay, everyone's behind house. All right, snipers, China. We're walking main. Medic, beam on scout, lead on scout. Walk, walk, walk. No stickies. Walk. Use. We Uber on the point. I shoot their medic. My demo shoots the medic. They force. I say back up. Okay, sniper's still on. Sniper rotated cliff. So we're playing left side of point for the post fight. Like that's how the flow should be. You get the sniper call. You go the opposite side, you walk onto the point, you hold the W key, check for traps, and you just use immediately. There should be no delay, no waiting, no, oh, my engineer died to sticky trap. It doesn't matter. Irrelevant. Useless information. You get to the point and you use as soon as possible. Because, again, the longer you wait, the more the other team is winning. Like, that's...
I have one question.
Mm-hmm.
Is it relevant to call pyros during Ubers because that can mess up Uber exchange?
If your scout has really, 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 really bad aim, maybe kind of, sort of, yes. If your scout's aim is not completely atrocious, pyro is just not a factor in Ubers.
Okay,
I mean, I guess
I
maybe,
thought I would mention it.
yeah,
I'm
for
a pretty
sure.
deadly pyro though.
I mean, if the pyro is dead, it's nice because it makes it easier for you to force them. But like, I guess the main thing I would say about if like the only thing your team can really do to help you during an exchange is just having people spamming their combo during the exchange, as long as it's from a safe place.
Ideally, their pyro's dead, but like, even if
I mean, you
can just get
can't expect their pyro to be dead. Like if their combo's in pocket, and you can have your soldier like spamming into pocket from like the right side of the point, like leading into the exchange. Just as an example, that's helpful. But the pyro
if you can get a tiny bit.
He has 260 health leading into the exchange. If your scout shoots the pyro twice, the medic will Uber or drop the pyro, in which case you insta win. So like both of them are fine.
I just thought I'd
As a
mention it, but that's also fair. If the scout just shoots him, he dies, so that's also reasonable.
Yeah.
Also, as a pyro, you shouldn't be going in exchanges because like the enemy spy is like playing around post tubers and most definitely will be going for picks on like your sniper or your heavy during or after an exchange. So it's important as a
Yeah,
pyro
okay.
to sit back and try to stop the spy.
Yeah.
That also makes sense. I'm thinking more of like some casual mentality, so I just thought I would bring it up, is that there's less of the single pyro and more of the multi pyro mentality I have. But
Yeah.
that makes a lot more sense when there's only a single pyro. The single pyro has to do the most important pyro job, not all of the pyro jobs.
Yeah. Another thing to note: if the pyro wastes all of their ammo air blasting during the exchange, they will have no ammo for the post fight, which
Post
means
uber, yeah.
you insta win. Like you
If
just
it's an 8v9
yeah
post uber, you win.
yeah. So yeah, offensive exchanges, get the sniper call, walk the opposite direction, and again, the same thing goes for team fights. If the sniper is on rock, your spy gets in position. You guys do a little countdown: 3, 2, 1. 9 players shoot the spy at the same time. Or I guess 8, because your medic probably shouldn't be peeking a sideline. But 8 people shoot the sniper at the same time. He fucks off, and then you beeline for the point and take an exchange. So just that is like the most important thing I want you to focus on is just get to the point, get the Uber out of the way as soon as possible, and then from there you treat it like a mid fight. So as the Uber is happening, your team should be getting in position, ready to fight what people call the post fight, post Uber fight. So your heavy is getting ready in position, your soldiers getting ready to bomb, your spies getting ready to go for a stab or just shoot them. The Ubers fade, and you guys say post 3, 2, 1, fight, and you guys it's the same commit call as mid fights, where you guys walk together at the same time, all 9 people on the point, and you just shoot the enemy combo, and you win. And that's how I want your offensive exchanges to go. I don't want you guys to stress too much about who I need to be shooting. The main thing is just getting the timing. Is go into the so remember, like again, biggest 2 priorities: make sure the other team uses, don't lose anyone during the Uber, and then the third priority is commit 9 people at the same time in the post fight. So those are like in that order. Force the other team, first priority. Second priority, don't lose anyone. Third priority, commit at the same time for the post fight. The exchange itself is not extremely important. If you guys get to advance next season, I will talk to you about who to focus during exchanges and blah blah blah, stupid explicit stuff like that, but not important right now. Cool. Does that make sense to people?
Yeah. I think the pushes seem a lot more systematic in this case. So yeah, that was good. Thank you.
For sure.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And I appreciate the clarification on the other thing.
Yeah. And then last thing there is to really talk about is holding the point. I guess I can talk about sacking as well. I'll talk about sacking first. So in higher divs, sacking is kind of shitty because the other team will just forward hold if you sack and blah 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 blah. But you guys are playing amateur or newcomer, so sacking is really effective. I don't really want to get into the specifics of why it's ineffective in higher divs and why it's effective in lower divs, but you just got to trust me on this one. So the way sacks should work is you should pick one class that can build Uber efficiently, which means either your heavy or your scout with the Boston Basher will sit with your medic, and everyone else, the other 7 people on your team, are going to go kill the other medic. The sack coordination functions identically to the post-fight coordination, which is the same as the mid-fight coordination. Your spy gets in position, your spy gets behind, he calls, this case, instead of calling where the sniper is, he's calling where the medic is. So your spy would be sitting here and saying, okay, their medic's in pocket, or their medic's behind rock, or their medic's on cliff, wherever the medic is. Your spy finds him, locates him for your team. The other people on your team are getting buffs, and then you go 3, 2, 1, commit for med, and everyone on your team, the other 7 people, other than your medic and the person building, you guys walk across the point together, your soldier and your double bomb, your spy decloaks, and you all just shoot the medic. None of the other players matter. If I watch demos back and I see like your scout and your pyro and your soldier shooting the heavy on the point instead of ignoring the heavy and shooting the medic, I will cry because it's cringe. Damage, just like if your medic dies on mid when you guys are sacking, the only thing that matters is damage on the medic. I would rather your scout pistol the medic for 10 damage across the map than do 6,000 damage to the heavy. Nothing matters except for the medic. If you kill or force or drop the medic or whatever, then you guys can kill the other classes. But the medic is the only thing that matters until they use or drop. The The most common situation when you guys are going to be sacking is if you just had some sort of a team fight and your medic died and the other medic didn't. Whether it was a mid fight or an Uber exchange or whatever, just team fight, your med died, the other med didn't. Then you guys respawn, you get 9 people alive, you go sack, and your heavy or your scout leaves and builds with your medic. I think heavy is a little better. Like scout is slightly more effective in the sack, in my personal opinion. But it doesn't really matter who does what as long as it's the same person every time. And then obviously, like if your scout peeks a sight line and gets sniped, and your heavy's normally sacking, your heavy needs to know, okay, I need to go build with my medic. But yeah, 7 people. And when I say like 7 people committing, like Pyro, get on jetpack, NG, go bomb into the other team. Everyone needs to go. And like literally, like your NG standing on the point, just spinning in circles, is more effective than your NG sitting behind house upgrading a telly. So just the 7 people at the same time, almost guarantee you will get a force every time you do it in amateur, because people are just not used to 7 people walking forward at the same time.
Real quick question.
Go for it.
I is the reason that the med builds better Uber off the heavy because I'm guessing it's because of overheal amount on my health amount.
No, you don't. I'm sorry, I misspoke. You don't build Uber faster. I just meant, in my personal opinion, the scout is more effective at sacking than the heavy is. Scout and
I'm
heavy
just
both build at the same time.
okay. Yeah, I was just wondering about like why the heavy, other than like I guess just that was my question in overall.
Yeah, I mean, I can run through build mechanics. Like, wait, what class are you playing?
I am heavy,
Heavy.
but
Okay,
like
so that actually does matter to you. So the way the metagun works, when you're healing someone, if they're below 142.5% of their maximum health, 142.5%, if they're below that threshold, you build Uber at the maximum rate possible. Anything below that doesn't matter. So 142.5 means buff. So for example, for a soldier, that's 285 health. So if a soldier has below 285 health, you're building efficiently. Anything under that is irrelevant. So like it
so you
doesn't.
want me to go get damaged and run Fist of Steel?
No, you don't need to get damage. You just need to hold the fists out.
Okay,
Because
okay.
you have a reduction in the amount of overheal you can take, right? So minus 40% maximum overheal, which means that the most health that you can have is 130% or 130. Yeah, you can only have 130% or something like that. 100. It's like
You're right.
Basically,
yeah.
because fucky source. Basically, your answer is fucky source math.
No, I mean it's intended. That's how it's supposed to. Your health is capped at 390 when you're holding the fists out when you're getting
Okay,
healed. So you
I
always
never
build
even.
efficiently.
Yeah, I guess it's actually. I think it's 375, but I never even heard that the fists build faster. But that's
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah. So if you are the one who's going to be building with your medic,
I'll swap fists and then I'll swap back to
yeah. I
Gru
mean you
for
should be on
for the red.
fists like always. Fists is just better. Don't use Gru. They
Gru
suck.
sucks.
They literally are terrible. Like trust me, you having 450 health on mid is 1,000 times more important than getting there half a second faster. I would just Fist
All
is
of the
still
heavy
permanently.
guides mention
Trust
Gru.
100% if you talk to any heavy who's ever played Highlander and it's not like a pub guy, they will tell you to run Fist of Steel.
No
Okay.
heavies in fight run Gru.
Just, I mean, I know it sounds kind
okay,
of rude that I'm
okay.
saying it like that, but yeah, trust me, Fist of Steel.
I'm just mentioning
100%
what
of the
I've heard from a number of guys, including guys that have been linked in the channels. So
For sure.
Those
Yeah.
How
are
recent are
probably
those guys?
outdated.
They
Yeah.
got nerfed. Yeah.
Yeah. Gru, like 5 years ago, used to be really strong, but they changed a ton of things about how it works.
I'm aware of how they were changed. I like them for a different reason, but I don't know. I'm not gonna get into it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really. That doesn't matter what fists you run, as long as you don't run Gru in the rollout, and as long as you have Fist of Steel when you guys are sacking, if you're going to be building. Those are like the 2 situations where your melee choice actually matters on heavy. So like, just like running through a script of how you guys would sack. Usually, your medic would kind of come around towards main. I don't know why I'm still on heavy. Your medic would kind of come around towards main and buff people here. Your spy would be getting in position. Your spy makes the countdown 3, 2, 1. You guys bomb, and then your heavy and medic walk into spawn and build. This is like a very, very nitpicky. When you are sacking, leave these doors closed for the love of God. The number of times I've seen medics stand here and get sniped is like unbelievable. So just leave the doors closed, please. Very not important, but yeah. So 7 people go die. Your heavy and medic are building. If you don't get a force miraculously, it usually takes about 30 seconds to send a full sack wave. So from the moment you have 9 people alive until the moment those 9 people respawn, it's usually 30 or 40 seconds. By that time, you will have Uber anyways, so you can just go and exchange. Uber add pushes function similarly. So in our I'm continuing our theoretical example. Or did you have a question? Okay, his mic's slow. So continuing our theoretical example, we lost the mid fight, our medic died, their medic didn't. We just sacked, we forced them, we now have full add. So we are going to treat the beginning of this push identical to how we treat our team fights and our Uber exchanges. We find the sniper, we walk the opposite lane. If the sniper's on rock, we pressure him as a team, and then we walk together. We get to the point. Our main goal is use as soon as possible. Don't lose anyone during the Uber and get good post-fight positioning. The only thing that changes here is that you can get kills during the exchange, because you're going to be invincible and the other team is not going to be invincible. A couple of things that this changes, it means that your demo bombing during the Uber is now much stronger because he doesn't have to worry about getting out in an exchange. He can just kill everything. Your soldier bombing during the Uber now becomes much more powerful because of the same reason. Your heavy committing on point becomes more important. So it's basically like a mid-fight, let me back up a step. Ignore what I just said. Not a mid-fight. Treat it like the post-Uber fight and the Uber exchange are happening at the same time. So you guys make a call, 3, 2, 1, you Uber on the point, and then your whole team commits with you. And you go for kills. The most important kill during any sort of offensive Uber push where you have add is the medic. If you kill their medic, you basically get minus a minute on your clock. So you get a minute of time, basically for free. Because it takes like a minute for the medic to respawn and then build Uber, and so you have a minute, basically, if you kill their medic. So soldier, spy, when your soldier's bombing, when your demo's bombing, when your spy's decloaking, knowing where their medic is super important so that you guys can commit for him as a team. Even if you have to trade a couple of players for it, if you kill their medic, it's almost always worth it. So again, I think the best way that I would want you to think about it is, like I said, treat it like the post-fight and the Uber are happening at the same time. So you guys use in, and then the post-fight is like as soon as you Uber, basically. So people are all committing on the point as a team. The only thing I don't want to see when I watch demos of you guys is you have add and you guys use on the point, and while the Uber is happening, your heavy is still sitting on cliff and your soldier is still sitting on concrete and your NG is still sitting on concrete and your pyro is just mulling around inside house or whatever. Like I want you guys to treat it like a mid-fight aggression when you all walk at the same time. Yeah. So that's Uber add pushes. Any questions? Cool. All right, I'll talk about holding the point now. So this is kind of ironic because being able to hold the point successfully is the most important thing on Koth because it's how you win, but it's also the easiest thing. Because once you're holding the point, you're winning the game. And so, like, yeah. So there are kind of there's, I guess, 3 holds that teams do on product. The main hold that I want you guys to be trying to push for at all times is holding on the point. So there's 2 places your medic can stand when you're doing this. Either your medic stands kind of around the corner of this rock here, or your medic will stand here. I'm a big fan of, okay, I'm on red team. Hold up, okay, I'll do this from like biblically accurate. So we're on red team, and we're holding the point. So your medic will either stand kind of back here, and the reason your medic stands here instead of here is because there's a sight line from concrete that your med can get picked from, which is bad. So playing your med kind of back here, tanking your demo, tanking your sniper on rock, or super forward, you have your medic playing here, tanking the same things, but just playing further forward. Both are fine. I'm a really big fan of playing all the way on their side of the point, but you guys can experiment with what works. The main things your combo has to worry about when you're playing on the point like this is the sniper peeking China or porch. Those are the 2 things. I guess they're more or less the same thing. Their sniper staring at you is the thing that fucks this hold up. So while this is all happening, your spy needs to just be staying alive and calling sniper rotations. Like legit, if I just have my spy sitting here just waiting for the sniper or sitting up on China waiting for the sniper, that would be fine. You don't need to be getting kills. You don't need to be like blowing up the dispenser or whatever. You just need to call where the sniper is so your combo can adjust to it. While this is happening, if you can have your soldier playing somewhere over here, that makes it 100 times easier for your combo to hold. So even just putting your soldier up here and playing this corner is super powerful. Or having your soldiers somewhere kind of around cliff or up over here where they can just easily jump up onto China and deny the sniper is like the biggest thing. That's kind of the forward hold. Usually it revolves around having your heavies somewhere forward with your medic, either kind of on this corner here. If their sniper's on cliff, holding here is really, really strong on heavy. And you can just kind of play this head glitch here and play your life, and you're more or less just waiting for an Uber to come in. And then your demo's playing just behind your heavy, sticking off porch, sticking off cliff and China, just making sure that their combo is like as suppressed as possible. And then your sniper is going to be set up either on rock or on boxes. These are kind of the two spots your sniper can play. They can rotate between them. Usually, if your sniper is going to be on rock, your pyro is babysitting the sniper because your pyro is right next to your combo anyways. And if your sniper is rotating over to boxes, then your NG is babysitting the sniper just to make sure your sniper doesn't get backstabbed. Your scout is kind of just floating around the point, and then your soldier, like I said, is kind of up on China. That's kind of the. Did I miss any classes? That's everything. Okay, actually, no, I talked about all the classes. Holy shit, let's go. So that's kind of the main hold. If they go concrete for some godforsaken reason, you just put your sniper rock and he kills everybody. That's the only reason we really don't have anyone hard watching concrete, because it's such a it's like literally like a 5 quadrillion light year long sightline, and your sniper can get 5 kills before they can even touch the point. So don't worry too much about concrete. Focus on your spy will call where the sniper rotates and where the combo goes. If they go cliff, you guys are your demo and heavy are fighting this. If they come main, your soldier should be up on China getting ready to commit on that, and your demo will be shooting it. Your NG will be shooting it. Just yeah, that's your like default hold is on the point. So like you would transition to that hold if you guys won the mid and got a bunch of kills, for example. And then the more passive hold, which usually happens if you lose some significant players, like if you lose your demo and someone on the flank, or you lose your sniper or something like that, and it becomes harder to hold forward like that, you guys can back up behind the rock, and your main goal is to just waste time. That's all you're trying to do. Stay alive, waste time. When the other team comes in, you want to take a clean exchange. So just like offensive Ubers, your main goal is just no one die during the Uber and have a clean post fight where you guys all commit at the same time. So like your goal is the same. It's just that the other team is almost always using first. One thing I do have to say about that, if you guys are losing players, it can oftentimes be beneficial to take the Uber into them if it feels like you're losing the point. So this is more of like more of a complex idea that I wouldn't worry too much about. But if you lose a lot of players and you know you're going to have to give up the point, you should always exchange before you leave. You always want Ubers happening when you have the point as opposed to when you don't. So like if I'm holding the point and my sniper loses the SBS and then my demo gets sniped and my soldier feeds and I'm medic sitting behind rock with my scout and pyro, I would say spy, find their medic, we're taking an exchange, and then I don't give a fuck what happens after that, but we need to Uber before we lose the point. Because it's just plus 10 seconds on your clock, or minus 10 seconds, whatever. You may as well take advantage of it. So if you're losing players, get the Uber out of the way before you leave. Always, always, always. You never want to leave the point with Uber. Just literally, there are basically no situations where that you ever want that to happen. Holding the point with disad. So like if you guys won the mid fight, you wiped their team, and then they sacked and forced your medic. Is basically the same as this kind of more passive hold. And you have that one class that's leaving with your medic. This time, the scout is more beneficial than the heavy because your scout makes your medic run faster. So if you're holding with disad, 90% of the time your medic is going to be leaving through main. So this little area here, or the corresponding side if you're on blue. So your medic's just basically going to be playing around here. Your pyro is going to be chilling behind your medic, making sure your medic doesn't get stabbed. and your scout and pyro are ready to leave with your medic, and then the other 6 players on your team, all they care about is forcing the other medic when they come in. That is your number one priority. If you don't force the medic, then you guys just have to wait once they cap for you to get Uber. So forcing the other medic when they come in is your number one priority, and that kind of revolves around 2 things. Your spy needs to figure out where their medic is, and then your spy needs, or whoever can see the medic committing, needs to call when they want to commit. So if your spy's sitting around here, you might say, okay, med is going cliff, they're going to use through valley, or their combo's coming valley, and then your spy would say, okay, med's committed in pocket, everyone sack on pocket, 3, 2, 1, your spy decloaks and revolvers the medic, and everyone goes and dies for the medic and forces them. But yeah, if you are leaving the point with disad, you never want to give the point up unless everyone other than your medic is dead, or you force them. Those are the 2 situations where you give up the point. And then same thing, if you have Uber, you do not leave the point unless you've used it. Sure, it might happen occasionally, but that should be in your medic's mind, and it should be in your whole team's mind. Even if it's like your spy and your medic alive, I want your spy and medic to Uber on the point and butter knife people and make them use and then leave. Like, don't leave the point without using it. That was a bit of an exaggeration. Maybe don't just Uber your spy, but the point is that if you can Uber and exchange on point while you have the cap, you get 10 seconds off the clock.
Right,
and
but
if you leave and then come back in for an exchange, when the Ubers are happening, the other team has the point, and so they get those 10 seconds.
okay.
Go ahead.
Sorry, yeah. So my question was like, if you take the Uber when you're down like players, say you're like 3 players down and you still use onto the point, but you're unable to force the medic, don't you end up losing a whole minute because you have to rebuild to push?
Yeah, I guess that's the only situation where, I realized when I mentioned the spy scenario that's like the only situation where
Right.
where you maybe would want to leave, but I don't know. I feel like it's so extremely rare that that's ever the case.
Okay, so
If I
right.
was alive on the point and I had just my NG and pyro alive, I would rather use in on the point
Sure,
than
yeah.
as
So
long as you know you
right.
can force the other medic, you always want to
Okay,
use in.
yeah, I think that's fair. All right, thank you.
I guess it's kind of it. There's one other the only other quote unquote really forward hold is you guys either hold with your combo on their cliff or like all the way in their main. Like I'm on a red team and this is a blue side of the map and we're like holding here and rotating to meet their combo. I would not worry about that hold. That's like a win invite kind of hold. It's like
Okay,
really
yeah.
really frustrating to try and execute.
Okay,
But
got
yeah,
it.
default hold, you guys are on the point. Passive hold is if you have disad or you lost players and your med's behind rock and your sniper's on rock and you're just playing around the point waiting for an exchange, or your med's getting ready to leave and your team's getting ready to sack. I think I covered about everything. Mid fights, pushing, sacking, holding. Yeah, I think that's kind of it. And then just because I've said it 7 times before, I want to say it one more time. Remember, capping the point and holding it for 3 minutes is your objective. That's how you win the game. Anything you do that furthers that objective is winning. Anything that you do that lets the other team's timer go down is losing.
The other thing that you said a lot was listen to the aggress calls
Yeah.
at mid fight.
Yeah. Any sort of team fight, you guys should have one person who is calling the aggression, and when that call gets made, I don't care if you have 10 health, I don't care if there's a mini sentry and you're playing scout, nothing matters. If the call gets made to aggress, you walk forward or you kill bind. Those are your options. There's no the only exception obviously is the medic because Uber percentages, but that's a completely different story. But yeah, when the call gets made to aggress, everyone goes. No questions asked, no disputing, no my mom walked in my room and turned off my monitor. I don't care. You hold the W key even if your monitor's off. Yeah. All right. Any questions? Well, anything. This is 8:30, so I should let you guys go.
Not really. No, yeah. Thank you.
I
think
appreciate the last bit though.
Yeah, we have the VOD recorded anyways, so worst case, I think we can just go back and review some of the things you said. But otherwise, I
For
think
sure.
it seems like you've basically covered every sort of relevant case. So I think that should be more than enough for us. Yeah.
East. All right. Well, good luck tonight.
Right. Yeah.
Thank
Thank
you
you so much,
guys.
Ben. Yeah. We actually have
you.
our scrim tomorrow, I believe. I still have to
Oh.
schedule that. But otherwise, I think this time around, I'll make sure to host a server and I'll make sure to try and get the VOD going. That way we can actually have a proper VOD review sometime afterwards. But yeah.
Also logs. 'Cause last time
Yeah,
the
yeah,
logs
that's right. That's right. Yeah, definitely the logs. But yeah,
All right, I gotta go to scrims. But
yeah,
yeah.
for sure, for sure. Thanks again, Ben. Thank you
Thank
for
you.
your time.
Take
Yeah.
care.
All right, take care.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
Sorry for talking too much.
No,
at the
no,
end.
that's fine. That's fine.